Hey Razzballers, it's Nick and we're in Orchard Park, New York today. We're about a mile away from the Ralph and we are doing the pre-tour scouting again for the 32 fantasy football drafts that we're doing this August. Now, if you're watching this is not a football video, okay? During the pre-tour, we're going to be talking nothing but fantasy baseball. It's just that the bars we are scouting is for the tour, but don't forget, we are also going to have a baseball tour starting in the spring of 2015. So we're going to continue on with the pre-tour. Of course, we're hitting Cleveland, Chicago, Indianapolis, St. Louis, Kansas City, Denver, and Phoenix. Lots of fun, lots of Razzball readers coming out, lots of Razzball writers coming on as guests, and again, we'll be talking fantasy baseball. This will be posted as often as we can get these videos out at Razzball Radio. So why not, hop in the car with us and come for a trip.
Hey, it's Nick from Razzball, and we made it to Cleveland. We're at the Winking Lizard in downtown Cleveland, which is a great location. It's right by where they play football, and of course Progressive Field here in Cleveland too. But I'm joined right now by Mike from Razzball, our steel specialist. Mike, how's it going, buddy?
Good, Nick. How are you?
Good. Thanks for coming out. So I got in a lot of trouble the other day for talking about football, which I won't do anymore. Okay, baseball people, I promise. Baseball season is just baseball. So Mike, we brought you in today because you do cover steals for us. So let me start shooting some questions at you. I'll start with, let's actually start with this. There's a brand new tool. It doesn't have a name yet. If you have any suggestions, we're completely open to it. But it's basically a tool where you can see the steal rate versus certain starting pitchers. Am I right so far?
Yeah, absolutely. It's right now it's under the tools menu, and it's called the SB rates versus SP tool. And
definitely needs a better name, Mike.
Definitely needs a better name, maybe. But Rudy came up with this tool, and it's fantastic. So all the work that I was doing last year to try to figure out which pitchers were a good matchup for steals, or which teams could be exploited for stolen bases, you can just go to that tool now and click on there, and you can actually search for a pitcher that maybe your guys are going up against that day, and figure out, well, this guy might be a good guy to try to eke out some stolen bases against.
Absolutely, especially if you're streaming, and a lot of people don't realize or take advantage fully of the tools on Razzball. So it's another great tool we've been working on.
Absolutely.
So let's talk now about a couple of guys that you like who might be on the waiver wire, who have a high or who have an opportunity to swipe a lot of bags this year. So give me kind of your early season sagging off picks of guys on the waiver wire.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of it's the same as last year. Actually, it kind of carries over. So a guy like Rajay Davis, he still gets no respect. People say he can't hit right-handed pitching, and he's going to platoon probably for the Tigers. But the fact of the matter is, he doesn't need that many plate appearances to steal 30, 40, maybe even more than 40 bags. And that's going to help your fantasy team, and he's going to be cheap. You're going to get him off the wire, maybe stream him once in a while. Same thing with Jared Dyson from the Royals. Again, he's not going to get a lot of playing time, but he's going to get you stolen bases, and that's what it's all about. You look beyond the faults and you get those steals.
So let me throw a couple names at you. One that's been getting a lot of buzz, obviously, is Billy Hamilton, and people are hoping he might steal 60, where again you can get 40 out of Rajay Davis for a fraction of the cost. What do you think Billy Hamilton's going to do this year?
Well, I mean, in the first game he didn't even get on base, so it's really hard to say. I mean, a lot of people think if he can't hit, he's just not going to do what everybody thinks he does on the base paths. But at the same time, he doesn't need to do a whole lot to get the steals numbers. The problem is that most people drafted him really high, expecting 80 to 100 stolen bases. I'd rather get a guy that's more balanced at that draft position and get my steals off the wire.
Let me throw another name at you, and a guy who I picked up in a couple leagues this year, Eric Young Jr., another guy who's got issues getting on base, but there's a possibility of a really good opportunity if he is able to get on base and lead off for the Mets this year and finally get full-time playing time. What do you think Eric Young might do this year?
Absolutely, he's another guy that's it's a great steals pick, and this year there could be a bonus. He could play outfield, and he might get some starts at second base. And once he gets to 10 or 15 starts at second base, you can slot him at your middle infield or your outfield position. You can be looking at 40 steals from him too, and that would be huge to have him on your roster, or maybe as a bench play.
He's a guy in a lot of expert leagues, and again, I'm not an expert and should be in these leagues, but I kept finding him with my last pick this year. And again, there's the opportunity. If he does lead off, look, this is a fantasy forecasting game, right? So it's best educated guesses, but I like the upside of Eric Young. Let's talk about a couple of starting pitchers that are on the wire that you like early in the season right now that maybe someone can go in and scoop up.
Well, right now there's two guys, and I got a lot of this information from Dano's post on Razzball, but Taylor Jordan of the Nationals and Henry Mejia of the Mets. Both of these guys just got their spots in the rotation, and both of them, according to Dano's post, they have great swinging strike percentages, which means like they're going to get you strikeouts, and that's huge for me from the waiver wire pitcher that I'm looking for. I want strikeouts, and they both pitch in the National League, and for Henry Mejia, he pitches in a great home ballpark for not giving up a lot of runs. It's not really a hitter's ballpark; it's more of a pitcher's park. So he makes a nice pickup. You know, maybe short term. He won't get a lot of innings this year, probably. But for the short term, I'd say ride him. And Streaminator loves him this week. So.
And again, another great tool over at Razzball.com. Okay, we got a lot of readers here. We just kicked off. It's 7 o'clock local time in Cleveland right now. Got a lot of readers here. I might actually rope one or two of them in to chit-chat with us. But your Twitter handle is at 643ball.
Yeah.
Did I get that right?
Yep.
So you can follow Mike if you're looking for some Sagnoffs, if you're looking for some cheap steals, guys you're looking at on the waiver wire, go see my man Mike. Hit him up on Twitter, he'll help you out. Now, Mike, when we come through on this big tour, because you're from South Jersey.
Yeah.
So are we going to see you in Philly, or are we going to see you here in Cleveland?
No, I live in Cleveland now. I live an hour south of here, actually. But I was born and raised in South Jersey, and unfortunately, in August, I'll be here instead of my hometown in South Jersey. So
that's okay.
I'll be here.
Hey, we already have a great crowd in Cleveland, so I'm really excited to be here. Mike, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks,
All right,
Nick.
good stuff. And you and I are going to have a couple beers as soon as we get a couple of readers out here.
Thanks, man.
All right, we're still rocking here in Cleveland today at the Winky Lizard. Now we got regular commentator from Razzball, Gareth. Gareth, how's it going, buddy?
Good, Nick. Very good indeed.
Good. Thanks for coming out tonight. Now, Gareth, you're a real interesting character to me because I'm a big rugby guy.
Okay.
And you're from Wales.
Yes.
Which is a rugby, mecca.
It is.
I think it's fair to say.
Yes.
Right? So how does a guy from Wales become one of the top commentators on a fantasy baseball website? You got to explain that to me.
You know what? I just fell in love with baseball when I got to Cleveland. And I always did like fantasy sports with like soccer. And I thought I'd try it with baseball, and then suddenly realized I knew nothing. So the first year I did it, my pitching was horrible. The next year I slowly improved, and now I finally dived into a Razzball league.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's the big guns now.
So how many years have you been playing?
This will be my third year.
Oh, really?
So yeah, the first year, terrible. Second year, better. This is the third year where I'm actually, pitting my wits against the good ones now.
So what's the sports scene like in Cleveland in terms of, going out there and going to Indians games or Browns games? Because this is a real blue-collar city.
It
they
really
love their
is.
sports, don't they?
They do. I feel, though, that the Cleveland Browns can do the worst, and they'll go out. But the Indians don't seem to get any love for some reason. Like, the attendance is not so great, but yet they got to the playoffs last year, and they're pretty good this year as well.
It may have something to do with only 8 home games for football and 81 for baseball.
Yeah, probably. That has something to do with it.
So how are you liking playing in an RCL league right now? Like, I'm curious going up against other Razzballers. I know we're only a couple days into the season, but how's the start for you?
It's definitely changed because I can't ask Great a ton of questions about who do I pick now because I'd be giving the game away. Right. So I kind of have to be more like sort of under the table kind of thing.
Okay, got it.
But it's fun though. And obviously the back and forth between the guys is hilarious. And, and I feel like my draft went okay. So fingers crossed it should be a good year actually.
Good stuff. Now, just in case you haven't picked up Gareth's Welsh accent, basically what he said is Razzball is the best.
Getting sign language.
Just repeated it over and over and over again. Now we're going to sit down and maybe have a local craft beer here today, but
sounds good.
From Wales, if you ever go to Wales, you got to try a Brains beer. Am I right?
Brains. Yeah. I should have worn my rugby shirt. It has Brains right there. Ah well.
Gareth, thanks for hanging out with us today.
Right.
And listen, we're going to see you hopefully on the 32-day fantasy football tour when we come through Cleveland.
Awesome.
Can we turn off the camera now because I really want to beer?